Hi, Andrea. Thank you for your next essays. Now we have this triple pie chart here. Let's see. First of all, let me have a look at how long the answer in task one is. 216 words. Okay, just try not to go over 200 words for task one. Just remember that because you might be penalized for writing too much. The given pie charts compare the average USD million incomes in 2014 derived from 5 sectors of the markets, namely agriculture, heavy and light industry, services, and natural resources in this, and that countries. Okay. I would suggest the following. The given pie charts compare the average incomes of 3 countries, in USD million, in 2014, derived from 5 sectors, blah, 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 blah. Perhaps mentioning the countries totally at the end is a bit too far away, and we managed to forget what we're going to read, and it's not really appropriate to say it like this. Overall, Bensland, Teamsland, and Jimsland, yes, exactly, and this is how you go on and name the country specifically. Base their profits respectively on the primary, secondary, and tertiary sectors of the economy. Great vocabulary, great, yes, great introduction. To begin with, agribusiness accounted for approximately 40%. You don't need the article. 40% of the entire income, and you don't need the plural in Bensland, while it was a minority sector in Jimsland and Teamsland. Very nice observation. Okay, interesting alternative for agriculture. Okay, in the former agriculture spelling, profits representing 1/6 of the total, while in the latter just 10% of the amount. Okay, well, you can also say a mere 10% of the amount. Conversely, the main source of income, no, you don't need the plural. In Teamsland were the secondary sector, which included both heavy and light industry. Numbers for such sectors for these sectors were at least the double of those in Bensland and Jimsland. I think this is a typo. Very, very nice observation. Finally, Jimsland was the only country which relied on service industries principally because approximately 100,000 USDs was earned thanks to this sector. Wait a second. Are we talking? No. If you do this, you say 100,000. While you said it yourself in the introduction, the unit for measuring these statistics is millions. So I think you really have to say 100,000 million dollars were earned thanks to this sector. Regarding natural resources, they were the sector which made up the smallest portion of the pie. Okay, I would say of the distribution, not of the pie. You know, we call them pie charts, but I wouldn't really refer to the pie as the whole statistics idea. Accounting nearly 3-4%. No, I wouldn't say nearly. Accounting about 3-4%, and you don't need this comma, in all 3 cited states. To conclude, the main differences among the given countries are in the sector on which the economy was based, whereas they have in common the sparing of the natural resources as a source of money. Very interesting and very relevant conclusion, but we need to fix the language a bit. Among the given countries, the main differences in the given countries are in the sector that the economy was based on, whereas the similarities, you say the main differences, so what comes out of whereas has to be a noun as well. Whereas similarity refers to the sparing of and so on and so forth. Yes, this is a very nice task one. as you could see, you really have to work on some of the minor errors in language. You really have impressive highlights and great language to report the main similarities, differences, trends, and all that. This is an impressive task one answer, but it's a bit long, right? So it's try to reduce it by approximately 15 words, and it's going to be acceptable. Now, the essay about working before university, right? Okay. Recent increase of adolescents who work during the compulsory school attendance has been becoming a controversial issue because it remains unclear whether this can be detrimental or beneficial for the students. Great idea, but language again. You really have great complexity of thought, great vocabulary, very nice syntax or sentence structure, but sometimes some language use is really off, and we have to fix those minor things to make sure that you improve. You cannot say during school attendance. School attendance is a fact. You know, it's how students come to school, whether they're absent or not. You could say during their school years, I would rather say this, has become. You cannot really use become in present perfect continuous. Has become is great. All the rest is absolutely perfect. As far as I'm concerned, working before university, I would say working before going to university can have positive implications. The following essay will discuss this viewpoint and provide real-world examples to support this opinion. Very nice. To begin with, since university tuition fees have been progressively increasing, yes, this present perfect continuous is absolutely legit. So it is very, very well justified. Families could not be able to cover the costs, and consequently students could be required to participate at their study expenses by working. Very nice idea, just a bit of grammar. Families could not be able, since the fees has been increasing, families might not be able, not could, might not be able to cover the costs, and consequently, I wouldn't use consequently, I would say, and this is why students could, respectively, could be asked by their parents, not required, asked by their parents to participate in paying for these study expenses by finding, let's say, a part-time job, not by working. Nevertheless, individuals who had no previous job experience, okay, you don't need the not, you can simply say had no experience, could find themselves completely unable to balance, infinitive, to balance their time between heavy workload, between what kind of heavy workload? Between the heavy workload of, let's say, of adult jobs, right? Because workload does not replace the word job, and you cannot use the word work because you have workload. And intensive academic courses, absolutely. For example, an Italian survey showed that the sole difference among university students who declare problems while adapting to the academic life and those who claim no issues was the lack of working experience in the former ones. I would say in the former group, not in the former ones, or among the former, even better. Thus, performing a part-time job, no, you don't perform a job. You have a job, you do a job, you do other things, but not perform. Before college can prepare students to the harder commitments requested, and here you need to say required in their academic life, not requested. Furthermore, since the tertiary education is founded upon highly specific knowledge, great vocabulary, and great complexity, I just love your style. And effort requiring study, I'm not sure if this exists, you can say effort consuming. Yes, that's an existing a complex adjective in English. Individuals who decide to continue studying should be fully aware of their proclivities. Nice word, proclivities. Yet numerous adolescents have not reached such insight at the time of college attendance. Yes. I wouldn't use just present perfect. You might use future perfect, yet numerous adolescents will not have reached such insight at the time of college attendance. Why? Because you speak about something that will have been or will not have been achieved at a moment in future, right? So future perfect. That's a very complex tense, and again, the context requires this tense. And the fact that you use it, again, will give you additional bonus points for the range in grammar. For instance, in the before mentioned, you can say that the previously mentioned surveys, not before mentioned, aforementioned survey, 70% of students claim that they have chosen the faculty without understanding concretely the potential implications for the future job and life. Well, this is a very nice sentence, but we wouldn't say faculty in English. We would say major, right? Like the main direction of your study, because faculty tends to mean primarily all the teachers in a faculty, right? So as a department at university, without understanding specifically, I wouldn't say concretely, specifically the potential implications for their future job and life. Therefore, working before going to university, article is strongly suggested in order to help students. Strongly suggested by whom? I think this is a bit too straightforward. You could say is certainly a good idea or a helpful experience in order to help students detect or determine, not detect, I would rather say determine, and no particle two, determine their predispositions and choose the most suitable studying path, I would say pathway of study. To conclude, even though parents are concerned about letting their youngsters work, letting is a bit informal, allowing their youngsters to work or their offspring to work when they are teenagers, it is irrefutable. I wouldn't use irrefutable just with the verb to be. You could say the irrefutable arguments, the argument that such opportunities, blah, 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 is irrefutable, right? So you could use irrefutable with the word argument, which would make it work much better because they collocate perfectly. You can say it is indisputable, and that is much more natural. Such opportunities help them in taking on responsibilities effortlessly during their future academic life, and more importantly, help them in enlightening the subject of their degree. This is not very natural use of English. Help them in choosing consciously or with complete awareness the subject of their future, the major for their future degree. Another thing here is you have a repeat, help them here and help them in here. So try to get rid of that. So this is an extraordinary essay. I can see that you have impressive depth of thought, great range of vocabulary and grammar. The only thing you really need to work on is accuracy, right? The errors. Pay attention to the errors I have singled out and try to learn based on your mistakes, and I'm sure that your writing will certainly become much, much better. So hope that this feedback was useful. I'm looking forward to more of your essays.